hatred happens. When I was growing up, if I said I hate mushrooms, my mum would say, we don't say that word in this house. For my mum, hate was a dirty word, but hate is not a dirty word. Hate is actually a description of something that happens. And so many of the stories in our world are stories about hatred. For example, can anyone tell me who this charming lady is? Anyone know? Sorry? No. The kids. I know. Josie, do you know who this is? Cinderella's evil stepmother. And she hates Cinderella. Does anyone know why she hates Cinderella? Evie? She envies her beauty. Yes? Harper? Yeah, because she's pretty. Maybe even just because she does. Sometimes people just hate and it's hard to know why. Does anyone know who this is? Draco Malfoy. Why does Draco hate Harry Potter? Anyone know? Josie knows. They're enemies? Yeah, they're from enemy houses, aren't they? He doesn't want Harry Potter's house to win. That's right. And you know, in Cinderella, when Cinderella overcomes the evil schemes of her stepmother with the help of some birds and mice, what happens? Celebration, including a wedding. And every time Harry Potter beats Slytherin at Quidditch or overcomes one of Malfoy's schemes, what do? Celebration. Celebration. And you know what? This is, these are stories, but it happens in real life as well. This is the celebration when Donald Trump was voted in as president again. And some of you love Donald Trump, and this will be a sweet photo to you. And some of you can't stand Donald Trump, and these photos will make your skin crawl. But it's a really helpful illustration, isn't it? Hatred is a real thing. And when enemies triumph over one another, there's celebration. And when your enemies beat you, you're devastated. I say hatred is a real thing. It's not a dirty word. It's just describing the way the world is. Now, in Nehemiah chapter 6, Nehemiah and the Jews are rebuilding the walls of God's city, and all that needs to be finished are the gates. And if you love God and his people, this is thrilling. This is better than Harry Potter about to win at Quidditch. This is better than Cinderella marrying Prince Charming. This is amazing. But if you hate God and the Jews, this is sickening. And in verse 1, when word came to Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem and the rest of our enemies that I'd rebuilt the wall and not a gap was left in it, we go on, they are fuming. This is like Cinderella's stepmom seeing Cinderella about to try on the glass slipper. No! It's hatred. And that is how Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem are feeling. So what do? Well, Duan and the kids and Caleb just brilliantly acted it out for us. They try and meet with him. Why? To harm him. This is like the school bully saying to a kid he wants to bully, come and play at my place this afternoon. That's what it's like. And you'd be crazy to go to that school bully's house, and Nehemiah would be crazy to go and hang out with Sanballat, who wants to kill him. And so Nehemiah plays a straight bat. He doesn't at the moment focus on the lies that they're telling. He just says, I've got really important work to do. Or he says a bit more firmly if Duan's acting him out, I've got an important work to do. I can't leave it. And they ask him 4 times. And the 5th time they up the stakes. Verse 5 tells us that Sanballat's aide, who we just found out today, his name is Caleb, the aide of Sanballat comes with an unsealed letter. That is, he could open it and show it to any of the Jews, anyone on his way to see Nehemiah. And this letter says, it's reported among the nations, and Geshem says it's true, that you and the Jews are planning to revolt and therefore you're building the wall. Moreover, according to these reports, you're about to become their king and have even appointed prophets to make this proclamation about you in Jerusalem. There's a king in Judah. Now this report will get back to the king, so come, let us meet together. It's a letter full of outrageous lies. But if people believe them, it could do so much damage to Nehemiah. What does Nehemiah do? Well, in verse 8 he says, you're making this up out of your own head. And in verse 9 he prays, strengthen my hands. And God does. But it's not over. I mean, in Cinderella, the wicked stepmother attacks Cinderella again and again and again. Every time Harry Potter overcomes Draco Malfoy, Malfoy has another go at him again and again and again. And American politicians and Australian politicians don't give up after a setback. They keep attacking each other, don't they? Well, Sanballat continues to attack. Tobiah continues to attack. And their next attack is vicious, genius, and brutal. They get a prophet to prophesy to Nehemiah that he should sin. They pay the prophet to do it. Nehemiah goes to see Shemaiah in verse 10. Shemaiah is a prophet, and his prophecy is, let us meet in the house of God inside the temple and let us close the temple doors because men are coming to kill you. By night they're coming to kill you. Now Nehemiah is not a priest, and it was a wicked sin for anyone who's not a priest to go into the temple, into the place that Shemaiah says to go into. And Shemaiah is being paid to prophesy that. Even the prophets, even the people that are looked up to by God's people as pillars of the community, are standing for what is evil. It's tragic, isn't it? I mean, Nehemiah mentions Noadiah, a prophetess, and the other prophets. There's multiple prophets and prophetesses who are working for the bad guys. So how does Nehemiah respond? Verse 11, he says, I will not sin like that, Shemaiah. I'm not a priest. I will not sin like that. Verse 14, he prays. Remember Tobiah and Sanballat, my God, because of what they've done. Remember also the prophet Noadiah and how she and the rest of the prophets have been trying to intimidate me. Isn't that terrible that the prophets are trying to intimidate the leader that God has raised up? And then verse 15. So the wall was finished in 52 days. I mean, that is understated, isn't it? That's amazing. 52 days and God's city has walls again. It's secure against the enemies. And all of the enemies of Jerusalem lose heart. Cinderella's put on the slipper. She's going to marry the prince. Well, what do we do with this story? Here's a few things. Cinderella has an enemy. Harry Potter has enemies. Donald Trump has enemies. Maybe you're one of them. Hatred happens. And there's always been people in this world who hate God. And there's always been people in this world who hate God's people. And thank God for Nehemiah. Thank God that he was not broken by their lies. He was not broken by their tricks or threats, as some of the other leaders of God's people in the Bible have been. What did Nehemiah do? He just got on with the job that God had given him to do. He built the wall. But do you know who else we can thank God for this celebration Sunday? We can thank God for Jesus. Because Nehemiah is a pattern of a greater servant of God to come. So many people hated Jesus as he walked the earth. I mean, King Herod tried to kill him when he was a baby. Again and again, messengers were sent by his enemies to trap Jesus in his words, to turn him from God's purposes, to make false accusations against him. Even Satan tempts Jesus for 40 days in the desert. And on the night before he dies, the only accusations that are brought to Jesus' trial are wicked, outrageous lies that people make up out of their own heads. But Jesus never turns from his purpose. Why was Jesus here? to save his people by dying for their sins and rising again. Jesus did not turn from the great work that God his Father had sent him to do. And it's Celebration Sunday. Today we celebrate the gifts that we've given towards our Thanksgiving projects. We celebrate in all kinds of ways different great things that have happened here over the last year. Now, in a year's time, God willing, we'll be celebrating that the preschool's built and about to open. But everything we celebrate here today, and everything we can ever celebrate here in the future, is only because Jesus was the leader God had sent. Jesus is the leader greater than Nehemiah, who would not be turned or intimidated from the great work of saving the world by dying for sins and rising again. The Pharisees, the Sadducees, the chief priests, the Herodians, the Romans hated Jesus. They killed him. But as surely as it took 52 days for the walls of Jerusalem to be rebuilt by Nehemiah, God's faithful servant, so surely is this true, that the work of defeating sin, death and Satan only took Jesus 3 days. And the work was done. Friends, it's Celebration Sunday. It's a great day to remember who we are and why we are here. Who are we? We are God's people, chosen and saved by Jesus, our Good Shepherd and our King, chosen and saved by him that we would glorify God the Father in the joy of God the Holy Spirit. And we are here as his people among so many thousands of people who do not have hope and are without God in the world. God has entrusted us with a great work to do. He's given us the gospel that we might share the hope of Jesus with the people we live among. And if we take that task seriously, then as surely as Nehemiah faced opposition, as surely as Jesus faced opposition, then so will we. There will be people who hate us and seek to destroy us. And Jesus says in John's Gospel, chapter 15, if the world hates you, remember that it hated me first. And if we sincerely and earnestly serve Jesus here, it won't be easy. It will be hard. We will suffer for it. We'll be attacked for it in different ways. But remember that the same Jesus who says, if the world hates you, remember it hated me first. He also says in Matthew 28, I am with you to the very end of the age. So my dear brothers and sisters, knowing that Jesus is with us, knowing the important work he's given us to do, the great work of sharing the gospel and growing in the gospel here, the great work of knowing God and making him known. St. Mark Sadlier, let's get on with that work. No matter the discouragements, no matter the enemies, no matter the lies, no matter the accusations, no matter the attacks, no matter the discouragements, no matter the parking complications, whatever comes, knowing that Jesus is with us all the ages, let's know God and make him known in the power of the Holy Spirit until we see Jesus face to face.